And so we were very pleased that Ganesh and Balachander, consortium board member, one of the founding members of the consortium board, was willing to be here today. And he's agreed to give us a brief overview of the reformed CGIAR. So I'd like to request Ganesh, please.
Morning. Thanks, Dave, and I want to refer to all the people on the dais and the audience, all our friends, very familiar faces. So I'm very happy to be here. But when I was hearing the applause, I was beginning to think about the Indian Idol and the American Idol, who's actually getting the most applause. And I would say, initially, till Nigel came on the scene, I think Ruben and Mohammed Soap perhaps were tied for first. But then since I don't have a digital meter, I must say Nigel had a more sustained applause. So I think Nigel will Yeah, there are several things I want to say, but I have to keep it short and simple. So let me see what I can say in a few minutes. Again, I must congratulate all the people. Again, how many of you are actually part of one of the CG centers? And how many of you, just raise your hand. How many are outsiders? Let's say, how many are outsiders, quote unquote, not part of the CG system, but your partners? Okay, there's I would say 40%, 50%, whatever. Very good. Some of you may have been in the system, outside the system, perhaps coming into the system. So anyway, all these permutations, combinations I don't want to get into, but it's very nice to see the real meaning of partnership. But before I get into my short presentation, I wouldn't claim it's a reformed CGIAR. I think it's reforming. I think this is the process. And maybe we are making some progress. And there are fits and starts. I like to climb mountains. When you go up a peak, you have to go up, come down, go up, and keep going up. So maybe we've had several steps forward, going up, and a few steps down. I think we need to recognize the challenges when you're trying to change a system that's been 40 years in the making and still trying to address many challenging issues. It's not easy, low-hanging fruits anymore. And talking to Willie and Nigel and a little bit on Dave, I could see their shoulders are perking up a little bit. I think they're breathing a little bit sigh of relief. But please wait, it's just starting. The implementation is just beginning. So the hard work is, I guess, all of you doers. I think we are depending on you to deliver. At dinner last night, I can see Joanna and then Dr. Helicopter Barpa Sharma, because I couldn't Sharma. I had a very good meeting. They were reminiscing about the past. One is a long-term CGIAR guy. So I think he brings the stability and strength of somebody who knows the system from within one center. I think Joanna represents the cross-pollinator. Will sit in several centers, brings new ideas, pollinates. And I think it was very interesting talking to both of them. And this morning, if I get the name right, Moses Osiro from Bamako. He must be somewhere here. I think he's a relatively new guy, but he was in the system, left, so he's the Rip Van Winkle, who's coming to see what is this reform all about. So I was not sure what I was going to say about the reforming CGIAR, so it will be I won't say the lowest common denominator, but I touch on a few things. Frank is around, he will get into the nuts and bolts, I'm sure he's got all the information at the fingertips. So I won't tread on his toes. I'll talk about the wider reform and what is happening, the basic elements of it. I will also say, when I was the Ford Foundation rep for about 6 years, I first met Willie, I think in 2003 or 2004. I knew Willie from my days in the Philippines because William Dar was, of course, the Department of Agriculture. He was the Secretary Department of Agriculture. I didn't forget that. One of the first things I wanted to do was meet with them because of my interest in Ford's interest in poverty alleviation and so on. and Ford have been instrumental, along with Rockefeller, I think, in setting up of ICRISAT. But it had moved away, and all I heard within the corridors in New York and elsewhere within Ford was, these are now becoming ivory towers. Now, whether it's right or wrong, please pardon me for using these terms, but maybe there was some element of truth to it. Maybe you need ivory towers, but then somebody has to come down occasionally at least to pass off to your partners and for the uptake of your research to make an impact on the ground. So these are key words, partnership and impact. I'll come back to that. So I did not meet Willie at ICRISAT. I met him at breakfast somewhere in a hotel in Hyderabad. But today I'm very happy I'm welcomed here. I'm no longer at Ford. I tried to make changes within Ford, but it did not succeed other than preparing a note for why Ford should come back. Maybe someday it will, maybe it won't, but that doesn't matter. The key is the global donor community had also moved away from supporting agriculture in a big way for several years because they thought the early hanging fruits had been harvested, the problems of food security have been addressed, so investments had actually dramatically fallen. But I must say, since the food crisis in 2007-8, people are beginning to look afresh at the importance of agriculture, and so funding levels are beginning to increase. We'll come to that a little later. What is CGIAR today? To put it in a brief, what is the definition? I would say CGIAR is, it's taken on a new meaning, the Global Scientific Research Partnership for Development. So it's no longer just research, but it's research for development, which encompasses multiple stakeholders and partners, the consortium, the centers at the center stage, the partners who are working with the centers, and the donors, of course. And it's not just a common endeavor, it's a joint endeavor to address certain common problems. And what is uniting all of us is not the money that comes in to keep the wheels moving, it is the SRF, the Strategy and Results Framework. So that we all know which side the goalposts are and where they are scoring. I know the African Nations Cup is going on, people would be interested whether you're supporting Ghana, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, or Mali, I think. You need to know which side the goal is, and you need to all focus on that. So the focus is key. So why did all this change, not just for change's sake, but why was this required? And just to summarize quickly, I know my time is running out, there was supposedly a mission creep. People were doing things for the sake of science, blue sky research perhaps, but mission creep, it wasn't just poverty alleviation at that time. Duplicative mandate among centers. From a few centers focusing on crops, people then began to think, hey, it's not just commodities. You need to look at natural resources, you need to look at food policy, you need to look at nutrition. So people learned. It's not just that we did realize the challenges, so new centers got set up. But impact at scale, where the questions that are being addressed, where they're salient, where they're relevant to society, they're not constant. It's not a static world. And where these replicable, you can't be in all places at all times. And of course, there was lack of coordination among donors. I know Eric is here, so I'm not picking on USA, but donors as a group, they have their pet projects, and the donor community also did not coordinate well. And there was decline in core resources, funding for the CG system, the loose system. I think in 2008, the core resources was something like $170 million. And I must say, with all the reforming structures in place, and with the consortium research program, there are 15 now, it has doubled. So what are we looking at today? Wider reform, we had already indicated the problems, clearer strategic focus with the SRF, and 4 system level objectives. Poverty alleviation, addressing malnutrition, at least in India, no, it's a huge problem. 0 to 5 or 0 to 2, whichever age group you look at, the stunting, the wastage, 35-40% of the children are malnourished, women are anemic. So how does, it's not just food security, it's basically about nutrition. It's also about natural resources. We can't just clear all the forests, we can't mine all the soils. How do we address this this whole challenge of sustainability? It's no longer just a buzzword. And of course, the other thing is about food security. But in order to achieve this research for development and have an impact, we need both upstream research and partnership there. Some of the large NARs, the ICAR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, I don't know if Dr. Ayyappan is here, Embrapa, Chinese Academy, Oriental Sciences, these are actually much bigger than the system. So in some ways, CGIAR is the tail that's wagging the dog. Again, it's one dog, but the tail is wagging the dog in some places. And one of the pet things that Nigel keeps saying, hey, the subsidiarity principle. We need to have decentralized decision making and capacity and capitalize on complementarity of centers. I think these are all good principles. Now the challenge is how do you put it into practice. So Dave, don't look at what I'm almost at the end. And again, some more challenges, increasing food prices. Again, all the discussions yesterday and today were at the food table. Of course, I was not looking at the pocketbook, but clearly most people are concerned about rising food prices, whether it's the chickpea, the food dals, and so on, the protein for the common Indian. These are more shorter. Population growth. When I was born, I think the population in India was half of what it is today. So from that you can figure out my age, but I'm part of the problem then. So I need to solve the problem in my lifetime. And by 2050, you're going to see 9+ billion on this planet. In India itself, you're talking about stabilizing around 1.75, 1.8 billion. On the same land, with climate change and all of that, resource degradation, if you don't address all of this, these wicked problems or complex situations, how are we going to feed the world, take care of other biodiversity, etc., etc. So today there are 15 CRPs with the launch of these 2 CRPs, and of course the system CRPs, 3 of them, nutrition and food policy and all that put together. We have about 15 CRPs, a common strategy to guide their research, and a common system to monitor progress. So we need to have in place all of this so that there's a doers, donors, linked together by the SRF. There are of course some minor players, quote unquote, I don't look at here, but they're important. The ISPC, IEA, lots of acronyms for those who are outside. The Independent Science and Partnership Council, I think Ruben was there, the Science Council, whatever it had a name before. And then Independent Evaluation Arrangement, the ex-ante, ex-post, lots of things about a corporate structure here. But the scientists, since you have a clearer vision and a goal, I think you will do a bang-up job. So I wish you all success, and in this I think the consortium will play its role as well as the consortium office. So you can rest assured that we are fighting a common battle. Thank you.